through a front office sports article. I'm actually shocked, to be honest, that this was written as pro player as that media outlet tends to be, and Annie Constable. But it is a scathing peel back the curtain report where we have found out.
For weeks, the rhythm of the WNBA season carried a harsh, undeniable undertone. It wasn't just the speed of the game, it was the violence of the reception. Clark, the rookie phenomenon, wasn't just being guarded, she was being hunted. She absorbed constant contact, hard bumps in the backcourt, hip checks away from the ball, and sharp fouls that seemed to carry personal grievances. To the casual observer, it looked like welcome to the league moments. But to those paying close attention, the physical play kept piling up.
Its inaugural season, Unrivaled was a spectacle, was it? Question mark? Drawing a sold-out crowd of 870 eager eyes. 870. In year two, the sparkle has worn off. Look, when a sports media outlet like Front Office Sports writes what they just did,
Layer upon layer until it became impossible to dismiss as standard competition. Through it all, the league office remained conspicuously quiet. They avoided the conversation, sidestepping the growing narrative that their golden goose was being battered for sport. But the lack of a response felt louder than any whistle ever could. Fans noticed immediately. Crowds reacted with audible gasps and boos. Online shows acknowledged it briefly, then nervously slid past the topic, unwilling to touch the third rail of WNBA politics. The unspoken message radiating from the league was clear: handle it yourself.
Miami city limits was quieter during the opening weekend of the 3-on-3 basketball league's second season. The fan fest outside was less of a throng and more like a collection of supporters. Inside the renovated arena, which added roughly 150 seats, bringing capacity from 850 to 1,000 fans, seats were empty. I told you guys. That first day, I flipped it over, and you can see the new seats. There were absolutely empty seats.
Survive or don't. That tone lingered, creating a thick tension over the first half of the season. But then, the silence finally cracked. It didn't break because the WNBA commissioner stepped in. It didn't break because of a press release. It broke because the loudest, most powerful voices in the entire sport of basketball decided they had seen enough. It started with a ripple and turned into a wave. Stephen Curry spoke. James followed. Joined in. One after another, NBA stars with championship rings, MVP trophies, and global platforms weighed in on the Clark situation. This is crucial to understand. NBA players usually keep their comments inside their own ecosystem.
Look, if you are a WNBA player that watches this channel, and by the way, I know you guys do, I would get on the horn to Nike Agumake, and I would say, we're signing the CBA. We're signing the CBA because that footing that you thought was so solid under your feet right now, nah, that was the rug.
They critique their own, praise their own, and keep it moving. A quick repost, a subtle nod, then back to work. Crossing leagues like this, it is incredibly rare. It signals that something feels off enough to demand attention across the aisle. This was not polished PR praise. This wasn't media-friendly commentary designed to sell jerseys. It came off as frustration voiced openly and without filter. The reaction rippled through the sport from Seattle to South Beach, and people were forced to pay attention. Pascal pushed the conversation further during a live television interview. When asked a safe question about which players receive the most love from fans, he didn't take the easy route. He skipped past a long list of NBA superstars, his peers, and pointed directly at Clark. Made it clear that the level of support surrounding her right now is impossible to ignore, but what mattered most was how he framed it. Did not compare her only to other rookies in the WNBA, he didn't grade her on a curve. He stacked her next to his own all-star teammate and one of the NBA's premier guards. Even then, he put Clark at the top. Man, that's dog is yeah, she's a beast, man, and they love her, so I'll probably say Clark I love, but she's she's another level in terms of just the love that she has. That was not sympathy. That was not a promotional nod requested by an agent. It was an honest read of cultural impact. That kind of recognition carries immense weight because it breaks an old barrier. Clark is not being discussed in a separate, protected lane. She's being evaluated on the same scale as elite male professionals. That shift signals just how much ground she has covered in a frighteningly short time. Obi added another layer to this defense, and he did it without trying to chase headlines. Isn't known for long speeches or dramatic sound bites, his reputation is built on action and energy. That is exactly why his reaction mattered. It came across as natural, not rehearsed, and grounded in what players actually see on the floor. Yeah, amazing, super amazing, great player. Having her be courtside and watching our games is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. When they're playing, it's so much. It's a joy to watch. Taken together, these moments show how quickly Clark has changed the conversation. She did not wait for permission or gradual acceptance from the WNBA establishment. Her game forced it. The contact, the silence, and then the response all reveal the same truth. She has pushed past an invisible boundary that once separated leagues and expectations. This is not about charity or hype. It is about recognition earned through performance. When voices from the highest level speak up this clearly, it signals that something fundamental has shifted. Clark is no longer a rookie learning the ropes. She is a focal point reshaping how the entire sport is being discussed. Then came the technicians, the players who understand the geometry of the court better than anyone else. Young's playful challenge to Clark regarding a three-point contest was never just internet banter or a throwaway moment. It landed as peer-level recognition, a quiet signal that Clark's release mechanics, confidence, and edge belong on the same bright stage as his. Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout our college years. We're the only two people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous three-point competitions. Nah, I'd be ready for sure. I'd do it. This wasn't hype for clicks. It was respect between shooters who understand timing, balance, and nerve. Fans would pack arenas for that kind of crossover moment, and sponsors already see the upside without needing it spelled out. But the ultimate stamp of approval came from the man who rewired basketball geometry himself, Stephen Curry. When Curry speaks on shooting, it is never casual noise. It is a dissertation. He offered a direct and unapologetic breakdown of her game that landed as both a warning to her doubters and a blueprint for her fans. He noted the precise release speed, the unlimited range, and the same flair that surfaces when the moment gets loud. Then he dropped the final layer. She isn't just a shooter, she is the full package. I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine, and then her just confidence. Obviously you can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair, like she's a performer. It's crazy though, just cause her shot is at that level, but if you really watch, her floor game is as impressive, so it's kind of a total package. Curry's approval is never random. His belief turned into a legend and Jordan Poole into a max contract story. That kind of endorsement carries real, tangible weight. Calling Caitlin Clark a basketball twin is not hype, it is legacy-level recognition. While the shooters focused on mechanics, Paul George took it a step further by zooming out. He analyzed the sociology of the locker room. He spoke from the perspective of someone who has lived the grind. He understands that years of empty gyms, late nights, commercial flights, and low spotlights built the WNBA piece by piece. The veterans laid the bricks. Then, a rookie arrives and suddenly she becomes the face of the whole movement overnight. Paul George knows that shift is going to hit nerves. It is human nature. Some players will feel pride, others will feel pushed aside. George did not dismiss either reaction. In just a few sentences, he laid out the emotional math of rapid change. You got to put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that. He gave Clark full credit for what she is doing right now while also respecting the veterans who laid the groundwork. That balance is rare in sports talk. It explains the jealousy narrative without villainizing the players who feel it. It is why his comments bounced from podcast to podcast and stuck around longer than a single news cycle. The same energy showed up when a reporter lobbed Luka Doncic a soft question about his favorite women's basketball player. Luka did not hesitate, he did not hedge. "Who's your favorite women's basketball player?" "Caitlin Clark." "Really? Yeah. You know, like Paige Buchers." "She's okay, I didn't see her play in the women's NBA." He went straight to Caitlin Clark. No qualifiers, no safe detours, coming from someone whose own rise from European prospect to NBA centerpiece reshaped expectations that answer mattered. Luka measures greatness by impact, not potential or popularity. He judged Clark on what she is doing right now and put her at the top. However, the momentum slowed when we looked at other superstars. Jason Tatum brushed off a WNBA question with a short answer. "Favorite WNBA player? A'ja Wilson, full stop." No disrespect to Wilson's dominance, she is a titan of the game, but Tatum choosing not to even reference the biggest story in basketball felt intentional. It read like strategy, not oversight. The same vibe followed when Kevin Durant was asked about his favorite women's player and answered Angel Reese without hesitation. Reese is talented, no doubt, and a rival to Clark. But with Clark rewriting records every week, the choice felt pointed. Two major voices stepping sideways instead of forward only tightened the tension. Paul George called this moment early. Not everyone is comfortable with a new order. That resistance actually highlights Clark's disruptive force more than any praise ever could. What makes this moment tense is not praise, it is contrast. Some stars lean in, others step sideways. That gap creates friction, and friction creates conversation. Pull back from the non-stop debate, the locker room jealousy, and the Twitter wars, and the numbers tell the real, undeniable story. Games moved into massive NBA arenas and still sold out. TV ratings jumped over 400% compared to the previous season. Merchandise didn't just sell, it vanished. Nike could not keep Iowa Gold or Indiana Fever jerseys on shelves. Perhaps the most telling shift was logistical. Charter flights were approved mid-season. Why? Because watching a generational talent wait in airport security lines became impossible to justify for a league trying to be taken seriously. Sponsors rushed in and rival players felt the jolt in their own visibility. This growth curve is not gradual, it is straight up. True greatness never creates neutrality, it divides rooms into belief and pushback. Ask Michael Jordan, ask Serena Williams, ask Tiger Woods, ask LeBron James. The WNBA has asked for real conversation for years. Clark kicked the door open and forced it into the spotlight. Every cheer and every hard foul proved the same thing: nobody is indifferent anymore. The league can clean up officiating, expand marketing, and adjust revenue sharing. What it cannot manufacture is passion. Clark sparked that instantly. Part 8: The Future Orbit. The challenge now is balance. Elevating one rookie to cultural centerpiece status turns her into both a symbol and a target. The league has to grow without burning its own foundation. They must protect Clark's health while spotlighting the veterans who built the league. They must spread the storytelling beyond one star. That means quicker reviews on flagrant fouls, smarter marketing spend, equal travel standards. Charter flights should be for every team, not just the Clark wave. The NBA learned this lesson during peak LeBron fatigue. The WNBA has that blueprint right now. Curry's comparisons are flattering, but Clark's ceiling is not becoming the women's version of anyone. It is becoming the first Caitlin Clark. She represents a mix of Curry's shooting gravity, Magic Johnson's passing vision, and Patrick Mahomes' level of cultural pull. That blend cannot be copied. She is doing it under harsher lights than any before her. NBA stars feel it, some celebrate it, some resist it, nobody ignores it. That is evolution in motion. Pascal Siakam acknowledged the love. Obi Toppin felt the excitement. Trae Young leaned into the tension. Luka Doncic stamped the resume. Stephen Curry drew the line in glowing ink. Jason Tatum stepped around it. Kevin Durant pushed a different angle. Add it all up and the pattern is clear. Big shifts always come with pushback, but one truth stands tall. Caitlin Clark is not just playing in the WNBA, she is dragging the center of gravity with her. The quiet era is finished. The heat is real and the league's future is now locked into her orbit. She is 23 years old with a 0.38 second release. The league asked for energy and got a full blaze. It is so loud and so bright that even the NBA has no choice but to pay attention. This is the moment where the noise finally makes sense, not because everyone agrees, but because disagreement proves the impact is real. Caitlin Clark did not slip into the league quietly or wait for consensus. She arrived and forced alignment, forced tension, forced conversation. That is how gravity works. You do not vote on it, you feel it. Outro courtside leaks. Every era has a trigger point, a player who exposes what was hidden and accelerates what was coming anyway. The reactions tell the story. Praise from legends, distance from peers, sidesteps, silences, and sharp opinions, they all orbit the same truth. The center moved. Once that happens, there is no rewinding it. The WNBA is no longer asking for attention, it is commanding it. Ratings are up. Arenas are packed, debates spill across timelines and locker rooms. None of this is accidental. It is the result of one player colliding with timing, talent, and opportunity at the exact right moment. That collision creates heat, and heat creates growth. Clark sits right in the middle of it, not as a mascot or a moment, but as a catalyst. She exposes gaps in officiating, marketing, and infrastructure simply by existing at this level. That pressure is uncomfortable, but it is also necessary. Leagues do not evolve in comfort, they evolve in friction. What comes next matters more than what already happened. Protection without favoritism, promotion without overuse, growth without erasing the players who built the floor she is standing on. Get that balance right and this era becomes a launchpad instead of a flashpoint. One thing is already settled, indifference is gone, nobody is shrugging anymore. Every cheer, every critique, every sideways comment proves the same point. The sport is alive and the stakes are real. If you want the unfiltered angles, the behind-the-scenes shifts, and the stories that do not make the highlight reels, that is where Courtside Leaks comes in. This is where the power dynamics, the quiet resistance, and the real momentum get tracked in real time. The saga is not ending, it is just entering the chapter where everything moves faster. Stay close, we've got every angle covered, every leak, every backstage twist, every moment they won't show you. Hit like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this video. Stay locked in with Courtside Leaks, your home for the truth behind the WNBA headlines.